Welcome back, class. So we could continue our lesson on beasts. So, please turn your books to page 66. So we're going to learn about goats now. Excuse me. Now, excuse me, class. Alright, so ghosts are like medium size. They are transparent, silver gray apparition of the person they were in life. Silver colored bloodstains were applicable. Ghosts remember and sometimes celebrate their death day, the day they died and became a ghost. Now, some of them remember that, some of them really don't. Let's see. Here we go. Goats, imprint of departed souls. Ghosts are spirits, deceased witches and wizards who choose to remain on Earth in an unsustainable way rather than to move on an adventure after death. Hush! Excuse me, that's my pet. She's with us today in class. These silver gray transparent beings take the physical form of the person when they died, including any clothing they may have been wearing at the time in their death as violent, or they passed with physical injuries. Their non-corporeal form will prominently show bloodstains, at least silver ones, which can sometimes make for an especially unnerving sight. But in total, that they are not bound to some of these laws of nature of living. Now, also, ghosts are cold. Now, when they pass by you, you feel this little chill. Because they don't have any warmth at all. They're not moving on or anything, and when they pass by you, you just feel this cold little breeze, and then you get this extreme chill. Now, some ghosts can be very mean and can be very, very bad, dangerous. Now, of course, many of you have known that Hogwarts has many ghosts. Like the Bloody Baron, the Fat Friar, the Grey Lady, Nearly Teddy Nick. Also, one of our teachers here is Cuthbert Binns, the professor of history of Hogwarts. Simply passed away while napping in the staff room. Unaware of his death, he promptly returned to his classroom. He begins his lectures by drifting through the chalkboard. Students regard his feat as the highlights and otherwise dull classroom. Binns often forgets students' names and will look surprised when spoken to. So, he still teaches at Hogwarts, even though he does not know that he's dead, because he thinks he's still, alive and still teaching, but he is not mainly aware of anything at all times. But he is a very good teacher. Very, very polite, but very forgetful. Now, some of the ghosts here at Hogwarts can be very mean. The Bloody Baron, for example, can be mean to other students, but not to where he resides at the house, the Slytherins. So the Bloody Baron is the resident's ghost of Slytherin House, named for the large bloodstain visible on his clothes. While a grunt-faced, piercing stare, he is one of the least sociable and most frightening ghosts of Hogwarts. Other ghosts give him a wide berth, and he is one of the few who can influence the residents' Poltergeist peeves. In life, the Bloody Baron was smitten with Helena Ravenclaw. When she ultimately rejected him, he killed her out of the rage before stabbing himself, crying, carrying chains in his afterlife as a penance for her murder. Now, another one is a Fat Friar. Very, very nice. Is a house of Hufflepuff, and then the Grey Lady is Ravenclaw, but she is known as Helena Ravenclaw, the sister of Rowena Ravenclaw. Many of you know Moaning Myrtle. She was a Muggle-born Ravenclaw student. She died in 1943, of course, but you guys know about her. Then also, if you're in Gryffindor, your house is nearly as Nick. Then there's also other ghosts that are quite different. So always be careful when you do approach a ghost. Be very careful when you're approaching them. You already learned about. Excuse me. Okay, next turn your pages, your books to 107. We're going to learn about imps. Imps are tiny, mortal, humanoid, 6 to 8 inches tall. They are pixie tricksters. Imps delight on breaking on suspected wizards or witches. Typically, they will do nothing beyond pushing or tripping humans for amusement, otherwise than sensing viciousness, and propose minimum danger, granting them a mild of rating 2. Witches can encounter imps while traveling along riverbank marshes of Britain and Ireland, where these creatures are known to feed on insects, although imps are frequently mistaken as fairies or pixies because they are kind of small and they kind of look like the size of a fairy or pixie. But they cannot fly at all. Not at all, they can't fly. These tiny beasts are brown or black rather than brightly colored cousins and lacking wings. Muggles use the word imp to refer to small demon or fairy-like creatures who are seen as mischievous and rather than malicious. The imp loves jokes, pranks, and having fun, often at others' expense. Has contributed to its repetition to it as an annoyance. Excuse us. They also according to the word impish, describes someone who is behaving mischievously. So impish means mischief, mischievously. Now, various European legends depict imps as attendants of familiar or more powerful beings like god, devils, or witches. As servants, imps might be bound to controlling objects and be used magically, granting wishes, similarities, as the genies or the jinns. So when you do encounter imps, there is only one spell that can actually repel them, which is known as Flipendo. Flipendo does not actually harm them, it just knocks them out. And then you could pick them up and then put them where you need to. So our next creature is, turn to page 122, and we're going to learn about manticores. Manticores are medium. They are human face, body of a lion, tail of a scorpion. Hey! Well, apparently she's agreeing with our lessons today. Manticore's stings kill victims instantly. So if you are stung by their tail, basically it kills you instantly because it's venom. Sometimes there is a very, very, very small chance you could survive that, but most likely you cannot. Designed to kill, the Greek manticores is one of the most horrifying beasts in the world. But they are murderous. Manticores went unpunished for its crimes, all because no one was brave enough to confront it. Especially, its skin repels nearly every known curse. And just about lots of spells, because some spells can't even penetrate them. But there are a few spells that can actually harm them, but cannot kill them. This is rare unholy hybrid has earned the level of level 5 classification. And reportedly croning sounds while devouring its prey. Meeting one will seal you your doom. So, if you ever are near one, I'm telling you, don't fight it, don't approach it or anything, because basically that's end of you. That's your death, because it is very, very difficult to kill one of those. So, make sure that you are aware of what is coming. Next, we're going to be learning about Yetis. So please turn your books to page 206. Yetis are huge, covered in white fur, similarly ape-like. Native to Tibet, and are standing and imposing of 15 feet tall. The Yeti is an anonymous, monstrous creature that devours any animal or human in its path. Also called the Abominable Snowman. The beast is highly classified dangerous. Basically, it's level 5. The Yeti is a large, ape-like monster appearing in the Himalayan. And over centuries, people have reported sightings of them and said, "Oh, there's a Yeti over there," But they don't mainly call it Yeti; they just know it as the Abominable Snowman, or But these creatures can actually kill you and actually eat you. Also, now for next one, we were learning about. I'm turning your books back. Excuse my spell books. Your books to page 91. We'll be learning about vampires. Now, vampires are medium. They're immortal. Human appearance notably pale skin and fangs. Vampires are believed to originate from Romania and Transylvania, and are known as a part of the Western society. Some, like the candies such as blood flavored lollipop, salt up honeydew, because vampires do lurk around our world. They won't harm us, wizards and witches. Most wizards have fear of vampires as a great deal. The Ministry of Magic classifies them as non-wizard part humans that must be watched carefully in order to prevent unfortunate attacks of swarm. Muggles know vampires, especially in Romania, were the satisfied acts of the 15th century ruler, as Vlad the Impaler, became intertwined with stories of vampire creatures marked by an insatiable bloodlust. Now, vampires, of course, do suck blood. Here's another thing. The latter notion has been challenged by British scholars who contend that vampires' skin sparkles rather than ignites in the sunlight. So if a vampire, excuse me, is in the sunlight, sometimes they will sparkle. Depends if they can't handle the sunlight, they will ignite, but most likely they will not. Vampires can kill wizards and witches, so they are impervious to magic, so basically it is best to stay away from them as well. Reason why they're impervious to magic is because they can do magic themselves. They can, lure you in and hypnotize you. They can make you do stuff. So they are similar to of what we can do. So basically, if you are, with them, you gotta be very careful. Also, when you turn back, excuse me. Turn to page 88. And we're going to learn about a hag. A hag is a small, medium, humanoid frame, wild appearance, and notorious warts. Frightening creatures of ill repute, hags are the best described as women who practice basic magic on par with trolls, in other words, known as to cause trouble. It is often said that hags will look or have a wild look about them and will have more warts than an average witch. Now, people say that witches have, tons of warts, but actually, what we are, some witches don't even have warts, but a hag is a witch that will have tons of warts and basically, can be pretty scary. And that's why muggles think that witches have warts, because they've seen hags before. Should you ever need to be sure, try to discreetly glance at their feet, but please don't, as hags have 4 toes on each foot rather than 5. They have that because over time, and we believe that they probably lost them at one point, or they're probably born that way. We don't know. Mainstream magic has viewed hags as extremely dangerous creatures. In fact, they are deemed less threatening than inferi and werewolves, and are classified somewhat questionable due to their grisly fact that the hags feed on small children. Now that they do, as feed on small children, and they can actually kill us as well, but it is very rare. Hags are not notoriously skilled at disguising themselves, which may be at least partially explained with how it came to popular Agnologist, and Muggle fairy tales such as Baba Yaga of Russian lore, which Baba Yaga was real. Muggle tales cast hags as evil, ugly, evil old women who practice witchcraft and are closely associated with the devil. It is believed that hags will sit on a person's chest and cause the victims to experience nightmares, which affected the person who wakes. They will horrified to discover that they cannot breathe or move, or several heart-pounding moments. Now, many of you have heard about Hansel and Gretel, about all that stuff. Well, a lot of that is true, but not all hags will actually feed on children at all. So make sure that that you are extremely careful around any of these beasts that we have learned. Now, there are more beasts that are, notoriously dangerous, but these are the beasts that we teach you of how to, do so, because these beasts are known as the Dark. There are other beasts that can kill you, like, for example, that can harm you, like fire crabs or other creatures, like that. But they cannot actually kill you, and are not actually in the classifications of harming. Now, other creatures that have kind of like a fire crab, you do need to learn how to defend yourself against those as well. Now, of course, Flipendo will repel the fire crab. Many spells with these creatures cannot actually kill them, but repels them. So when we start learning our spells, we'll be teaching you, go back to these creatures and teaching you what spell repels. So, for your homework, I would like you to tell me, of these creatures we've learned, which creature do you think is the most fierce, most vicious, and which creature do you think is the least? So, in your homework, I want you to do a comparison from least to worst. And you tell me about any of these creatures that you think, oh, this creature is less, this creature is worse. And you just tell me about it. And in between that, you would tell me each creature, each beast that we've learned. You would tell me in between that as well, all about it. How would you rate those beasts that we've learned? So I'll see you in our next class. And we'll be moving on to objects next. So I'll see you in the next lesson.